This is episode 0027 of Gary's Glorious Golden Nuggets, and today we are so graciously honored to have Tracy Lamourie, a high-profile, international award-winning publicist. She's founder, managing director of a company she created, a PR company called Lamourie Media Incorporated. She's a Universal Women's Network 2020 Women of Inspiration winner for women in media. She's the author of an upcoming book called Get Repped, Build Your Brand with Effective Public and Media Relations. She is a longtime advocate on a myriad of important issues. Let me tell you, when I did my research on her, she was everywhere on the internet. This woman is involved in not only that, but the thing that really struck me big time was she went on a 20-year campaign to get an innocent man out of prison and did it. That is something that I just find so incredibly impressive when people have such a sense of social responsibility that they want to get things set right. So thank you personally from me, Tracy, for setting the record straight and saving one soul. That's absolutely amazing to me.
About that.
Well,
That's, honestly, yeah. I mean, it wasn't just me. Obviously, we created a team, and then the lawyers got involved and everything. But I do all these business podcasts, and really, that's what brought me here, and that's what I'm most passionate about, sharing the information about.
So let me tell you what: if you want to get known in the world, this is the woman to get in contact with, because she won't quiet until people start to realize who you are or what the cause is, and really take an interest. So thank you so much for being here. I'm going to have her complete bio in the show notes, as well as all of her contact details. We're just going to go and have a good time here tonight. So welcome to the show, Tracy.
Hello, and thank you so much. I'm excited to be here talking to the audience and to you.
Fantastic. Thank you. So what's the one thing you wish you had known before you decided to go on this path to be an entrepreneur?
I wish I'd known. I always say I wish I'd known that was a possibility a long time before. I grew up, I should have been probably in sales and marketing my whole life, just entry level or employee. So like most of us, I was trained. Went to school and learned to be an employee. I never was trained, or I never learned to be an entrepreneur. I never learned how to build a business. I never saw myself on that track. I didn't think of myself as the kind of person that would do that. But thankfully, I had that light bulb moment where I realized that all the skills I developed in that not-for-profit advocacy work were actually potentially monetizable, not in that advocacy work, because I would never want to get paid for the work that I was doing to free an innocent man from death row and that kind of thing. But the skills that I developed from that, learning how to deal with media, learning how to write a press release, I finally figured out 15 years I started doing it, 15 years after being hugely successful in getting us on CNN, MSNBC, Court TV, all that stuff with that messaging, that hey, you know what, I could probably segue that into a job and stop doing these telemarketing sales calls about something I don't care about. And so luckily I thought of that finally at 41, like 9 years ago, and then I started the trajectory towards building this company.
There you go. A lot of golden nuggets in just that response. And you're right. Educational system seems to be preparing you to be an employee. I realized that when I became a father. My own children, I started looking at the school and thought, this looks like a factory.
Right. See, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what it made for, in the early days of the Industrial Revolution, the way schools are that we know them today. They were for the Industrial Revolution. People started to work outside the home, and they were very much to train people to. And it honestly, it really blows your mind when you think about it, though, because I was really good at what I did. I started being a freelancer. I'm super good at what I do, but yet I didn't have the confidence. I didn't really thought about building a business. Another year or two before a friend of mine said, oh, you know what, you really need to build a business. We didn't incorporate yet, but it was a general partnership with me and my husband. And it wasn't until my friend, literally pushed me to do it, to the point where she even said, you know what, I'm going to, for your birthday, I'm going to pay for the business registration. Please go register your business. I was like, oh, okay, fine. I would have been, I literally would have just been a freelancer. So once I did that, that started to create the structure and, get better and better and blah, 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 blah. And to the point where earlier, then I got a business consultant. And for the last 2 years, my business consultant was saying, you need to incorporate. Have you seen your resume? Have you seen your clients? You're way above, you're punching up here and really here. Right? So, or I was up here, but still acting like I was down here. And so I finally, with her guidance, Jane McCormick and McCormick Consulting, my hero, because we all don't know what we don't know, and that's what I don't know. She, put that all together for me, incorporated, and now we've been, every month has been better than the last financially. Now that I have this structure, I think now we're incorporated, we're taken more seriously the level with different people, on the business side, where before you're like a freelancer. So this literally came out of nowhere. Well, no, it didn't come out of nowhere. It came out of that, that understanding. But I think if I had understood way earlier what I know now, which is, I don't know why anybody wants to be employed instead of be an entrepreneur. People people think that entrepreneurship is scary or that it's, you're less, it's more secure to be in a job. To me, I'm like, are you kidding? If you have one employer, it just takes one moment for that one employer to call you in their office and tell you, I'm sorry, I love your work and everything, but we just don't have that. You're gone. And then your entire life is, oh my God, what do I got to do? Oh my God, how am I going to pay that? Whereas with me, I got 39 clients. Yeah, it's a juggle. I'm always like this, but I mean, 10 of them, and I don't want them to, because I love all my clients, every single one, but I mean, 10 of them could leave tomorrow. 20 of them could leave tomorrow. And it would financially impact my business like this. Pretty much the biggest impact, other than me being sad of losing those projects, because I love the project. But in terms of my actual hard bottom line business impact, the biggest impact would be I would have freed up a few more places for other clients to come in, So, because like right now, I can't, everyone that hires us wants me to do the work. Like we're still very much in terms of it's incorporated, but it's still almost like a freelance in that sense. It's me. You're hiring me, and then my business partner, my husband, who does, the financials and some of the music stuff. But this is the face of the company. People that pay us want me to work on their stuff. So I have to figure out, I hope that this year will be the year I figure out how to be a job creator and share some of the wealth, because that's, I think, my next path. But it's just like incorporating was a big jump to get my head around that. Becoming a job creator, I really want to do it, but it's another big jump because I'm going to have to stop everything I'm doing to figure out how to find those perfect people, because this is sensitive work, and then train those people to the way we do things and to make sure, oh my goodness, it seems like to get the help that I need, I have to be even crazy busier for a while, right? But that's where I want to go with things, because I have no problem getting new clients. I get new clients like this. If I had the room to do more, I would be able to get more. And so I think that in these times when people are looking for work, there's a lot of other people who are, as smart as me and clever as me. And if they knew what they were doing and they knew what to do, they could be doing what I do. And then, I'm happy to, it almost feels like an activist thing now, though I argue with myself that that's crazy thinking, but it almost feels like it's an activist thing in a way to create good jobs for other people that can actually change and benefit their lives. So I haven't hired before because I didn't want to ever have an intern. People ask me all the time, can I be, but I don't think that's right. I think that's only privileged people can afford to be an intern, because you don't get paid to be an intern. I think that's not ethical. I think it's ethical to pay people for, even if they're asking to work for free. Well, if they can, other people can't do that because they need it. So I don't want to just have, just a privileged person are the only people that can come in. I'm not saying no, they can be publicists too. They can be with my company too. But I mean, you know what I'm saying, right? I don't want to I want to level the playing field, not to add to, barriers in the playing field.
I'll tell you, one of the things that I have heard you say really clearly is you were on the fence, not knowing that you could get off of it. And it really took other people to push you off the fence to get you started on this thing. Every time you've progressed, it's been somebody who's pushed you to take the next step, which is always better for you. So in some ways,
in terms of business, because that was my blank spot. I know what I'm doing in terms of publicity, but no one ever had to show me any of that stuff. I'm like, but everybody has a blank spot. My blank spot was that business, because I was never trained. Most of us, like I said, we don't know how to do that. We're not trained to do that in school. We're not educated to do that. We're educated to be worker bees. We're not educated really to be the leaders.
Yeah, but you've been blessed in the fact that perhaps your greatest failing is the fact you didn't get off the fence and people pushed you, which is your greatest resource. You surround yourself magically by people being attracted to you who just basically say, this needs to be done. I'm going to gift you this so that you can take that next step. Yeah. And so you are living proof of the law of attraction at work and at play, because you have the vision. You just kind of need a little bit push, but when you get there, everything's already lined up for you. And I loved how you said, if my clients walked out tomorrow, if I lost a third of my clients, it just makes more room for more people to come on board. And that's really true. So many people are absolutely terrified to go into the workplace of their own creation, being an entrepreneur, because they like the idea that when I go to work, the pen is there, the desk is there, the computer is there for me, and I didn't have to make a single decision about any of that. I didn't have to cover the cost.
Thought about that too. That's true. People don't feel empowered, so it's like, I'm just gonna go. What do I do? Yeah. Whereas we had to create. I mean, I don't even know. I often say, I've been doing this for 9 years. I never went to school for PR. I never went to university for anything, unfortunately. I mean, I wanted to, but I didn't. No, I guess it's fine. I never went to school for PR. I never read a book on PR. I never went to a seminar on PR. I never even watched a video on PR. And I never met another publicist till a year ago at a convention. I literally created this. I knew what a press release was. I went and researched online how to make a press release. That's what I learned, right? I'm a writer, so I know, okay, whatever, four paragraphs for immediate release, compelling language. That's the only thing I ever researched and learned, what the format of press release is, right? Other than that, I just figured it all out. Okay, so I guess we need to get media. We have a thing. We need to get media attention to it. So okay, well, what's the press release say? Okay, that's the way format is. And then just start researching and researching. And over 10 years now, I've got millions of media contacts over the years. But when I just started out, all I had was, there wasn't even any Twitter. There wasn't even any Facebook. There was like, well, there was when I started my company. But when we started doing the media work for the death penalty and all that, there was no Twitter. There was no Facebook. So when I first started doing media work, it was literally going to the website, going to Houston Chronicle, info@HoustonChronicle.com. I didn't have a single reporter. Literally going to the masthead. Okay, who writes about justice? Who writes about, and gathering one by one. So like no tricks of the trade, no software with all these, literally just like, so a publicist will be about getting messaging to the media. How do I do that? And I just figured it out. And I had a Hollywood client who's like, what her position is, what she does, but she's not an actress, but she serves, she works in literally in Hollywood, serving that community. And that's the land of publicists. And she fired her LA publicist to hire me in Toronto in my basement all the way up there. And she was thrilled that she did, because after a month, she was like, you know what, you do way more for me than my publicist did in LA. And I said, well, maybe that's because I don't actually know how to be a publicist. I don't know what they teach you. I don't know what the barriers are. I don't know what these are the three things you do. To me, it's public image. I do for my clients what I would do for myself, their public image, finding awards shows for them, finding stages for them, finding media opportunity. To me, I'm your publicist. It's your public image. It's not just the press release. It's everything I can do to get you in front of the public eye. That's what it is to me.
Tracy, I don't know what I just love you. Here's what I'm going to glean from all of that. It doesn't matter where you're located in the digital universe.
Absolutely.
You're in a basement in Canada, and yet you are a better representation of Hollywood star power than what they're getting from people in those Wilshire Boulevard high-rise offices that are dedicated, claiming that they're servicing their needs. You can do more. And in the digital universe, it's a level playing field. You can be in the Sudan in a mud hut. If you have a laptop and the internet, you could represent somebody in London, Paris, New York, LA, Tokyo. It doesn't matter.
Across the English-speaking world, like literally everywhere that, I will take a project anywhere in the English-speaking world. I got clients one of my clients is one of the most well-known TV stars and broadcasters in Africa, one of the 100 most inspirational women in Africa, one of the 100 most powerful women in Ghana. These are just some of the accolades. Ghana, she said. So Ghana, I have a client in Ghana, I have a client in Australia, I have a client, I just got off the call before you right now with Document Records, which are out of Manchester in UK. So I literally have clients all over the place.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is just a tip of the iceberg of what is available in the digital universe. So, I mean, you are just opening up all kinds of things. And I'm sure people sit back and say, oh, you must have just been lucky. But if somebody says that to you, how do you respond?
This is lucky. Lucky is 18 hours, working until 3 a.m. Lucky is strategizing. Lucky is researching around the world for opportunities. Lucky is not being afraid to put myself out there and introduce myself. Lucky is messaging, 200 podcasts about my expertise and 180 of them saying, yeah, sure. You know what I mean? So lucky is finding those opportunities and being determined. And that's what lucky is. So it's funny now because I think people who know me for 9 years, I know people, because you got internet now, you can watch me on Facebook. People who knew me 10 years ago was very, very different. There was a time 10 years ago, I had to borrow $20. I remember literally borrowing $20 from my friend Sue, emailing Sue, can you lend me $20 today? Literally, I remember this. I'll talk about it. And thank God that she answered what she could, because it changed my week. $20. That's where I was 10 years ago when I started this. And now I'm traveling all over the place. I had a $20,000 month this year, one $20,000. I'm not going to, you know what I mean? It's not always like that, but whatever, things are good. And I know, because I didn't come from that. So I know there are going to be people who are going to, maybe they're not mad yet, but they're going to start to get mad. And then I'm waiting for that moment, because you can get mad all you want, but you tell me what you were doing, because I've known you for 10 years, like you know me for 10 years, and we all have the same amount of time in our day. Also, we all have an internet connection, because I see you use it you're on the Facebook all the time. So people want to get mad at me, whenever you're successful, you're lucky. When you were like watching Netflix, I spent 20 minutes last week watching Netflix, 10 minutes one day, 10 minutes the next day. And the rest of the time I was looking for opportunities and reaching out and introducing myself on a worldwide basis. And so now it'll come back to me and say, oh, gee, Tracy's all just lucky. You've been so lucky. Really? And I know it's going to start to be like, then the resentment's going to start coming. There's certain people who don't do things, resent people who have things, and I used to be in that headspace, not to that extent, but when you're in the perception is very different what you're told than what it really is, right? Because like we all told, oh, you know what, you're stuck here, you're whatever. And I'm not saying there's not barriers. Certainly there are barriers, right? But again, you know, and I was privileged in some ways and not privileged in other ways, but I didn't get to go to school. I didn't have any money to go to university. I had to just start working. I had to, you know, I never had any luxury to do that, right? And yet, you know, of course, I'm much more advantaged than some other people. I'm not claiming, you know, that I have every barrier that other people, but I'm just saying, you know, if you really don't believe in yourself and just take those steps, then you will not get anywhere. If you do believe in yourself and you do those things and work hard, then you get somewhere. It's not just the power of positive thinking. It's not, you know, I don't like all that because it's not magic. The positive thinking is the first step. You know what I mean? It is, the law of attraction is true because you're doing the work that attracts people to you and have the attitude that attracts people to you. And instead of being, and I see a lot of the people who aren't successful and they're sitting there complaining all the time and whining all the time. They spend more time complaining on Facebook statuses than I do. It's literally what you spend your time on. We all the same amount of time. That Malcolm Gladwell book says if you do 100 hours of anything, you'll be really, really, really good at it. If you do 1,000 hours of something, you'll be a genius at it. So listener, what did you do 100 hours of this month? Because you're really good at Netflix now. You know all the Netflix shows. Or maybe you're really, really good at, you know all the new hits on the radio, or you're really good at reading. My thing was reading books. You know, you read 10 magazines, but you didn't do anything with it. What did you do with your time? What did I do with my time?
And that's where luck is developed, isn't it? Luck comes when you're prepared. The problem is most people aren't prepared. And when opportunity opens its door, they don't even know to walk through.
Exactly. Or they'll tell themselves all the reasons why they can't walk through or shouldn't walk through, or, you know, all the things. People, it's your self-talk. And again, even when I say that, I hate to sound like one of those people because it's people that just say that all the time, the same crap. And but honestly, I learned that. I didn't go and learn that on a, you know, by listening to somebody on a stage that I paid $2,000 to, or from a book that I read. I didn't learn those words, and I'm repeating those words now because someone convinced me of it. I literally have seen it in my life. Every single thing I've done in my life that I decided I was going to do. Now it's money, and now the money's coming in. Before that, it was, you know, advocacy and making noise. So I'm all over the world, you know, making noise and doing the death penalty thing. So whatever it is, I've been super successful at. Not because I was born with a golden spoon. I didn't even get to go to school because I didn't know I could afford it. You know, not because whatever, but just because I believe, no, you know what, I can do that. So literally, truthfully, it's not something you learn on a stage. It's magic. If you actually believe you can do shit, you will take those steps and do them. It's just fact. Do it. I should not have been able to do any of this stuff I've been doing. I didn't go to school for this. I wasn't educated for this. I didn't have I didn't know a single celebrity. I didn't, you know, like, there's no reason. I had the same thing, you know. And so just believe it, like, wow, what do you want to do, and figure it out.
Absolutely. And that's what an entrepreneur does. That's all there is to being an entrepreneur. You just have to have a vision, and you have to have a huge why. And when you have those two elements together, the how appears, and the how usually requires a lot of elbow grease. It just takes a lot of your time. So let me ask you this. I mean, you've kind of smashed that whole lucky thing open. Is there any other one myth about people who work online that you'd like to crush?
About people that work online?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're an online entrepreneur here.
You don't have to be a techie, because I'm not a techie. You know, there's a million online jobs you can do that are not, because when you say work online or work on the computer, people think, oh, I don't understand. Sure you do. You can type and watch TV, right? Then you can, you know the internet. that's pretty, if you can watch TV, you got that, you got half of it down. If you can type, you got the other half down, right? So we're all, you know, digital, it's not scary to be like, you know, there's a lot of opportunity in the digital world, like you're saying. And like you say, no matter if you're in a hut somewhere, if you're in a beach, you're in, you know, Madrid, you're in Toronto, whatever, it doesn't matter. As long as you can put, life's a pitch. And if your pitch is good and you're not scared to reach out to people and talk about what you do and make connections, and, you know, go on podcasts is gold right now. These days, I always thought of them as media because I'm a media person, and they are media, but they're also huge for marketing, free marketing, and huge, insane for networking these days if you do anything to do with business to business services. Business to consumer is a different story. But if you do anything you do with business to business services, you need to be doing podcasts. If you can get your comfort zone around them, either being hosting one or just presenting yourself as a guest is not hard to do these days. Join Matchmaker, join Podmatch. And I always see people think, oh, me, I'm not an expert. Of course, you're an expert in entrepreneurs. You wouldn't be taking money from people, would you? To do what you're doing if you're not an expert. So what, you're a scam? No, you're not a scam. You're an expert. Otherwise, you wouldn't have a business doing what you do. So take that confidence that you do, the same confidence where you're like, oh yeah, you can pay me for that, and translate to media. Don't be afraid to say, hey, yeah, I can come on your podcast and speak about blah, 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 and build that thought leadership thing. You hear that phrase, thought leadership. That's what that means.
I will congratulate you because in your answer, you wiped out about 9 myths, the imposter syndrome and the fact that you're absolutely unique. Nobody else can have your voice or your message that you have. I mean, you're just absolutely amazing, Tracy. I just love talking with you. Let me ask you this. If there was a question I should have asked you and I didn't ask you, but you have an answer that you would like to give to any question I should have asked, what is the question and what is the answer?
Okay, so I'll end with, the final words, one like a quote, which is, we talked about Jimmy Dennis, the innocent man on death row. And what partly what got him through all that is he just used to repeat the phrase, never, never give up, never, never give up. It's on a t-shirt too. The other day I was talking to him on the phone. I'm like, oh, you wearing your shirt? Let me see. And he's like, yeah, never, never give up. And so that's his phrase. But then I also heard a phrase that I say to him, when he's a little PTSD or stressed out or depressed, that I say, because I heard this online and I don't even know who said it, but I say this to everybody too, which is, we didn't get this far to only get this far. In his case, I'm like, we're not done till we get the Grammy, because he's a recording artist now, and so that story won't end till he gets the Grammy and the movie made. But in terms of everybody, I say this to everybody, we didn't get this far to only get this far. So whether you are, and this is important, because whether you're lauded and applauded and celebrated and elevated right now and you're whatever and you've got more to go, or whether you wanted to jump off a bridge yesterday because things are rough right now, people are stressed, people are confused, people are feeling hopeless. So whether you literally wanted to kill yourself, wanted to jump off a bridge, it's all or nothing, whatever. But you know what? You didn't, because you're listening to this. So you didn't get this far to only get this far. You didn't go through every single thing you got to in life, all those idiots, all those asses, all the whatever happened to you, you got through it. And you're here for a reason. And you need to not jump off that bridge. And you need to still be here tomorrow, because you don't want to miss the really good stuff that's coming tomorrow or the next day or the next day. So never, 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 never give up. When a guy who spent 25 years innocent on death row tells you that, because that was no picnic, listen to it, because just listen to that. If he can do it, you can do it. And, we didn't get this far. You didn't get through everything you've got through already to get to this day just to say, that's it, I'm done. You didn't. So sorry, you can't do that. Not an option. Keep going.
I love that. I know there are people that would say, they'd like to follow you, get more information, etc. I'm still here. Tracy, if people want to get in contact with you, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
So they can reach me at lamouriemedia.com is my website. I live on the Facebook, which is Tracy Lamourie. Instagram is Tracy Lamourie PR Media. You can email me, lamouriepr@gmail.com, and that old telephone technology. You can call me in Toronto, or my Toronto number, so Canada-wide, 289-788-5881, or Beverly Hills, 424-444-8052. Both of those numbers you can call from around the world, and they both come through to me. So I'm not actually in Beverly Hills because of COVID. I have been there, but not recently. But my phone number is so that the U.S. clients who don't have long distance can just call stateside.
Ladies and gentlemen, all of that information is going to be in the show notes. So just keep driving, keep doing whatever you're doing. You're going to be safe here. Tracy, we gave everybody 2 minutes, and then you can say whatever's on your heart about any subject. And so now is your 2 minutes.
Okay, so yeah, I guess I just want to stay along the positivity theme, talking a little bit more about, the believing in yourself theme, and then what you can do with that in terms of if you're doing messaging. So my expertise is how to get messaging out to the media and how to share your message with the world. So I always say there's 3 parts of that. There's the believing in yourself so that you can do that. Then there's the finding the opportunities and reaching out and sharing your message, making your $1 million, freeing the man from death row, whatever your goal is. And then but if it's a business thing where I want to build my profile, make my money, build my business, that's great. Once you do that, that's step 2. So step 3 is, what do you do with that? How do you, what do you do with that? How do you build your legacy, a real legacy? What actually matters? Are you done when you have the platforms and the money? You feel good about yourself now? Or is that only a stepping stone? And now you want to do something with that platform and that money. So I hope that, when I elevate my clients, my friends, and to that point where they have all the money in the, position of their dreams, that they'll then do something, whether it's a cause that I care about or something that's deep in their heart, or just, whether it's feeding the starving children, whether, there's a million things in the world, and certainly you care about some of them. And it's important to have an impact and to use your skills, to use your voice, to use your platforms, to use your dollars. Something better. I like that quote from, I believe it was maybe it wasn't Maya Angelou. It could have been Maya Angelou, but if it's not, I apologize to the strong power woman who said it. We'll find out and I'll message you. But she said, activism is the rent that we pay for living on this planet. So it's all of our responsibility, whether you call it advocacy or activism or helping other people or whatever. My idea of religion, my religion is, leave it better than you found it. Just like when you go camping, so leave it better than you found it. Everybody that you touch, hopefully your interaction with you is positive instead of negative, and that you brought something to their life and to their, that's what you should be doing. And if we think about other people and not ourselves, the truth is, then other people will be thinking about us. If you're only thinking about yourself and you're looking out for number one, you better keep on looking out for number one, because nobody else is going to be looking out for you. So if you're looking out for number one, keep doing it, because you're the only one who's going to care to. But if you do what you should be doing, look out for your neighbors and the people around you, then they're going to also, care for you and look out for you when you need it. So leave it at that. That's success.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard from the queen of messaging. That's all I can say. Just one golden nugget after another. It was like she had a machine gun that was just firing off all this time. So we've been really blessed to have Tracy here today. One thing that tells me about the quality of a person is when I meet them and I feel them. When I have that understanding, because I can meet hundreds of people and not remember them at all. But when I meet somebody, but I remember how I felt when I was with them, I know I have met really an authentic, wonderful human being. And that's how I'm feeling right now. So, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much. It's so kind of you.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to have to close the show off. But, we've had a wonderful podcast. Please subscribe, share this episode with others. If you're on the fence, get off the fence, become an entrepreneur. This is the time. This is your golden opportunity. Get in the digital universe, because, ladies and gentlemen, the sky is not even the limit here. You can go as far as you want to go. And so I thank you. I thank you so much, Tracy. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
We'll be catching you all on the next podcast. Thank you.
Bye.